Welcome back to another episode of The Last Lap. My name is Jimmy, and I'm joined by my friend and co host Matthew, as always. In this episode, we got a lot of news to cover first, and then we're going to give you guys our predictions for the Xfinity and the Cup Series races this week at Homestead Miami Speedway. But before we hop into it, we want to make sure to remind you guys, if you're new, to hit the subscribe button down below, just to make sure you guys know when we're uploading videos, because we upload usually every Monday and Friday. So make sure you do that. And then in between videos, we're active on Instagram and Twitter at The Last Lap News. During the races, I'm usually pretty active on Twitter, just tweeting during the races and giving my opinion and updating what's going on in the races. So if you guys want to check us out on there, that'd be appreciated as well. So without further ado, let's hop into some breaking news from the week. So our first piece of breaking news from this week is that Chip Ganassi, the car owner for the number 1 and the 42 in the NASCAR Cup Series, he was fined and suspended one race because apparently he brought somebody to the track at Daytona that wasn't needed, and NASCAR is having a strict COVID policy where owners or drivers or whoever can't bring anybody that's non-essential to the team to the track, or at least in the garage area, because I know that some families are allowed up in the booth, obviously, so they're far away from everybody else. But apparently Chip Ganassi brought someone that was non-essential into the garage area, and he was suspended for one race and fined $30,000 for it. So Matthew, what do you think NASCAR made the right decision here, and how do you think this is going to affect them moving forward?
Well, I did think it's the right action. These NASCAR teams, they already knew who to bring and what not to bring, basically. They all got the guidelines when this whole pandemic started. And when we went back to racing last year, they got whole guidelines saying, like, these certain people can come, and these certain people can't come at all. And Chip Ganassi knew what he was doing. He knew bringing this person who wasn't supposed to be at the racetrack. He knew it, and he did it anyway. So that was appropriate because he knew what he was doing. So this is going. I mean, for other teams, they better rethink it. They're going to try that again because the same thing will happen to them. So I think everybody learned their lesson there, and I don't see another incident like this.
Yeah, I also think that NASCAR made the right decision. First off, I want to say props to NASCAR in general for how they've handled this whole COVID situation. NASCAR was pretty much the first sport back to like full-time activity, and they set up a really good plan in order to get back to racing, but also keep everybody safe. I'm pretty sure it was just Jimmy Johnson and Austin Dillon were the only NASCAR drivers that tested positive for COVID in 2020. And I think there might have been a few crew members for one team. It might have been William Byron or something later in the year or something like that. But overall, NASCAR's handled this situation great. And I'm glad that they're holding up their end of the rulebook here, and they're suspending Chip Ganassi for a race. The fine, I'm not 100% sure about. 30,000, it's a lot, but not a lot to them. But I do think NASCAR did make the right decision with the suspension and the fine, just to tell teams that, hey, we're still sticking to these guidelines. Like, you guys can't just get away with anything. So I do think NASCAR made the right call in that aspect of this situation. Our next topic of breaking news in this episode is going to be about Ty Gibbs, who won in his first ever Xfinity Series start at age 18 at the Daytona Road Course last Saturday. The news that's revolving around him is that he got a massive extension of races that he's going to be running this year. Originally, it was only supposed to be around 3 or so, but Joe Gibbs Racing announced that he'll be running 14 races now in the Xfinity Series this year, all part-time. I know Joe Gibbs likes to go for that Owners Championship in Xfinity every year, so I definitely think that'll be a good chance for them to win that with the 54 car this year, with putting Ty Gibbs in 14 more races this year. I think it's a great opportunity for the kid. And honestly, at this rate, with him running 14 Xfinity races, that might be a sign that they might have him full-time in Xfinity next year. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, if he won in his first Xfinity start, I don't really see why he needs to go through trucks, but who knows? Maybe he'll run a season or two in trucks before getting to Xfinity, but I'm really excited to see what Ty Gibbs could do this year in that 54 car. So, Matthew, what's your reaction to Ty Gibbs getting all these races for the rest of the year?
He definitely deserved it. First career start, a win on a road course. And that wasn't it's no restricted play racing. It wasn't luck. He earned it. And and these road courses take a lot of skill compared to the other tracks. And he showed all his skills there by being the best road course racer right now, also Cindric. So he definitely deserved these 14 races. I cannot wait to see how he does. I'm predicting he'll win at least one or two more races this year. It's still going to be a learning experience for him. It's not going to be all perfect for him. So that's why I'm only predicting just one more or even two wins in the schedule. And I think both of those will come on road courses. And yeah, I think it's definitely going to have a full-time Xfinity ride next year for sure. Well, it depends on how he does this season. Now, I don't want to jump the gun too quick, but if he does really good like he did Daytona Road Course, he'd definitely get a full-time Xfinity ride for sure. But by the way, I'm still mad that they're not making a race version of that. I'm still a little mad about that. I mean, they can make any Kevin Harvick Busch beer car. Why can't they make an energy drink? Never mind. But I'm so happy for Ty Gibbs. He's still really young though. Take your time, please. We don't want another William Byron situation when you were so talented at lower series, but it took you 3 years to win a race. That was on a restricted play. So, or Eric Jones, who was good in the lower series, but he was kind of disappointing in when he was in Joe Gibbs. So, take your time, Ty Gibbs, please. You could be the future of NASCAR here. So, just take your time, please.
So, our next topic that we're going to talk about is regarding Steve Letarte, who used to crew chief for Dale Jr., obviously won the 2014 Daytona 500 with him. So the news around him is that he's actually going to come back and crew chief for Corey LaJoie this weekend at Homestead. If you don't already know, Steve Letarte currently is in the NBC booth, but they're currently off right now because Fox Sports covers the first half of the year. So Steve Letarte was able to get the opportunity to crew chief this weekend. Matthew, what's your thoughts on Steve Letarte coming back for a race to crew chief?
I think it's great for him. Not really much to say. I mean, it's a Spire Motorsports car, so it's not really, not going to help that much, but still great he's back in the pit box. I still think he needs to still be a crew chief and not be in the commentator booth. To be honest, there's way too many people at NBC. I mean, is either Jeff Burton or Steve Letarte you got to get rid of. I mean, Dale Jr., I think he's great as a broadcaster. I know Rick Allen says random things sometimes, but I think it makes it funny, to be honest. So, other than that, though, I'm glad Steve Letarte's back on the pit box.
Yeah, I definitely think that NBC has a few too many people up there in the booth that they kind of rotate in and out with. But I think Steve Letarte, he did a good job like as a pit reporter. So, I mean, I think that would be good for him being kind of in the pits and all of that, and then let Rick Allen, Jeff Burton, and Dale Jr. be in the booth. But besides the point, with him being back on the pit box, I mean, it's great for him to be back on the pit box, like you said, and then especially since he's got some time off. I mean, he's probably not doing much at home right now. I know he's with NBC, but they're off for the first half of the season. So I think it'll give him something to do. It'll be nice for him to get back at the track because I know he can't be at the track since he's not like essential personnel or whatever. So I think it'll be good for him to be back at the track for at least this race in the spring or first half of the season. And it'll be interesting to see how he does as a crew chief again. So now that we got all of the breaking news out of the way, it's time for our predictions for this weekend. So there's only 2 races this weekend, the Xfinity Series and the NASCAR Cup Series. So we're going to start with the Xfinity first. So Matthew, who do you have winning the Xfinity race this weekend?
That's a tough one. I'm going to pick Harrison Burton because he did win their last. I think he won back to back, maybe. I may be wrong. Maybe one of those races. I forgot. Oh wait, he did win one of those races, just one. But I have Chase Briscoe won the other one. But I got Harrison Burton for that Xfinity race because I think he'll be good. But there's also Noah Gragson as well because he was dominated there last year. And for my Cup picks, so my main pick to win this race, we're already seeing two first-time winners this year. I think we're going to continue that. It's going to be Tyler Reddick winning this race because Tyler Reddick was so good here in the Cup Series last year. He was in the top 5, top 3 most of the night. So I think we're going to have 3 straight first-time winners, and it's going to be Tyler Reddick. My threat is, of course, has to be Kyle Larson because we all know how good he is on the high line in Homestead. I think he's going to be a big threat to win this race. And as for my sleeper, I'm going to go with Martin Truex Jr. because he's also been good there as well. So I think Truex will be quietly be up there.
Those are very solid picks. So for Xfinity, for me, I'm going to pick Austin Cindric. I think this is like the first 1.5 mile track of the year. And I think they're going to come out with a bang and just show everybody that they're the ones to beat for the championship this year. So he's my pick for Xfinity. I was thinking about Harrison Burton, to be fair. And then Austin Cindric was just the person I picked. But Harrison Burton's a very solid pick as well. For my Cup predictions, my main pick is going to be Kyle Larson, your threat pick. Like you said, he's super good at Homestead. He won the Xfinity race there back in, 2017 maybe or something like that. But even when they're not like in the Cup Series, he's been amazing there as well. Still hasn't gotten a win there, surprisingly, but that's where they had all the final races of the season. So I'm sure he was like being pretty lenient to the championship drivers and all of that. But it'll be interesting to see how he does in a race where championship isn't really involved and you can race each other fairly and hard and all of that. My threat is going to be Denny Hamlin because he won this race last year. I believe it was in June when they ran it last time. And then my sleeper pick is going to be, in fact, Tyler Reddick because, like you said, he's really good there. And the trend might keep going that another first-time winner might come, and Tyler Reddick hasn't won in the Cup Series yet. So Tyler Reddick's going to be my sleeper pick. So those are all of our picks for this weekend at Homestead.
And I hope this Homestead race better be good because let's just be honest, Homestead is not really the best tracks for racing-wise. Let's just be honest. The only time I really like Homestead is when my driver is leading at the championship. I want it to be boring, of course. But other than that, though, those races are not really the most entertaining or the most more racy compared to others. So don't expect a lot going on in this race. I think track precision is going to matter most at this racetrack because of that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I remember last time in June, I was on vacation, but I was still able to be watching the race. And Chase Elliott was in it to win it, and that was the only time I was like rooting for a good race. But unfortunately, he finished second in that one. But yeah, Homestead, not really the most action going on, but we'll have to see if this race does anything different. That is all for this episode of The Last Lap. Make sure you guys drop your comments down below if you guys are interested and have any picks for this weekend in the Xfinity Series or the Cup Series. Let us know who your favorite driver is or anything else you guys want to drop in the comments. And then make sure you guys check us out on Instagram and Twitter because we'll be giving updates throughout the week and during the races as well. We hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, night, whenever you guys are watching this. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.